A very good day to you. I want to speak to you today about the relay. You know, when you're at school, you do a relay race. There's normally 4 people in the race. Okay, you get a quick boy at the start, then you've got the 2 middle distance runners, and then a sprinter at the end. But there's a thing called a baton, and you have to pass that baton one to the other. Now, if you remember some years ago, even in our beloved South Africa, the one runner dropped the baton. When you drop the baton, the race is over. You are disqualified. We need to start to learn to pass the baton and to receive the baton if we are going to succeed in this walk. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered into the heart of a man the things which God has prepared for those who love him. That's found in 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 9. If you pass on the baton, the Lord's got something more for you. But if you hold on to the baton, folks, God can't give you any more. And you know what actually happens? The race stops. If God has been using you in a certain area, and you are reluctant to pass on the baton because you want to hold it to yourself, it is going to die. I'm not just talking about a church. I'm not just talking about an outreach movement. I'm talking about business. I'm talking about agriculture. I'm talking about the home. You have to release your children. They can't stay with you forever. You've got to give them responsibility. And that's how we grow. And when you do that, it's a feather in your cap. I want to say to you, sir, your children should do better than you've ever done. That makes you a good teacher. That means you've passed the baton on correctly. Then I want to say to the young people, you must learn to take the baton. It's no good if mom and dad give you the baton, okay, the key to the front door, as it were, and you drop it. If you do that, then the race is over. So it's one thing to give it, it's another thing to receive it. And the same thing applies to the Word of God. God starts us off. Paul talks about it. He says you start off by drinking milk. But there comes a time in your life where you've got to start eating meat. You can't carry on drinking milk all your life. Some of us, that's all we do. Paul says you speak about baptism. You speak about being born again. You speak about the infant things, as it were. I know they're important. Don't make no mistake about that. But then you have to move on from there. What are you going to do with what God's given you? You see, folks, you can't just keep it to yourself. It's like the manna that fell from heaven every single morning for the children of Israel. When it first started happening, they started to gather it up. God said, just take enough for the day. And they were greedy. They gathered it up. The next day it was rotten. God says, if you don't use what I've given you and hand it on, I won't give you any more. We need to learn not to be selfish. And it's not easy, especially if you've been very successful in a certain area. Then to be able to lay it down and to move on. Folks, that takes a man. I'm busy reading a book at the moment about 7 men that changed the world. And the main thread that's running right through their lives, every one of them, is that they could lay down the baton or pass it on. They talk about George Washington. They wanted him to be the king of America because in those days everybody were kings. He said no, he was a farmer. Then he became the first president, but he passed the baton on, and of course it just developed from there. We talk about Eric Liddell. Eric Liddell was the star in Chariots of Fire. When he had got his gold medal in the Olympics, he went to the mission field. He didn't stay in the Olympics. And he preached the gospel to the Chinese. Folks, pass on what God's given to you and he'll give you more. Until next time, may God bless you richly. And goodbye.
For more information, please visit angusbuchan.com.